Go ahead.
Welcome to the Red Couch. Again.
I always say welcome to the Red Couch, so you should say it.
I did.
Say it again.
Welcome.
I so enjoyed you saying it.
Welcome to the Red Couch on Sunday.
Although we're not on the Red Couch, we're still at the store.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, I'm at peace here. Are you at peace here?
Yeah.
This is like, we're in the store, we're alone, we're closed on Sunday, so
Makes
here
my
we're in the
nose
store.
itch. I don't know what it makes my nose itch.
That means you're getting ready to come into a lot of money.
Ooh.
You're getting a big check.
Are you writing it?
Not a crazy check, a real check.
Are you writing it for me?
No. Somebody's right. Where was I anyway? I'm still at the store.
You're still at the store
Yeah.
with the peace.
Yeah, you know what? It's at peace.
Yeah.
We're sitting here. The store's closed on a Sunday. We're here, relaxing. We had to come by and feed her cat.
And the praise music is playing, which I left on all night for the cat.
Yeah, she's got praise music on for the cat. I mean, she's fixing to get this cat saved. And the thing about it is, she's on Pandora, and it plays in a loop, you know. So this poor cat has heard the same praise songs like 14 times now. So eventually, she's going to just throw her hands up and
Yeah, she is.
her hands,
I give up.
throw her paws up and give her life to Jesus. Say, put me in, Coach. I'm ready to play. I'm now officially saved. So Shirley can shut the music off. It's driving
Well,
me
you know
crazy.
that 9 Lives thing, she may have to do it 8 more times.
It's crazy cat.
Oh, dear me.
That's right. A cat's got to get saved 9 times.
9 times.
They can't just get saved once. They get saved 9 times.
Aren't you glad you're not a cat?
That's right. Think
That's all
about
I
it.
got to say about that.
So I'm at peace. I'm at the store. I'm with Shirley. I'm always with Shirley. You know, the kids always say, "You guys are always together." I say, "Listen, I didn't marry her to leave her home." Think about that.
Good answer. Good answer.
You got to get points when you can get points. You know what I'm saying? So I always say something nice about Shirley out loud so everybody can hear it. Like, you're really good at that. I tell her, you're smoking hot.
And I always say, what do you want? Because sometimes I'm really not very smoking hot when he
So
says
listen,
it.
let's think about this peace thing.
Okay.
I'm at peace, even though the whole world's going crazy about this Olympic things, you know?
Well, it's going crazy about just about everything. But Olympics is real,
You know,
up close and personal
my
right
nose
now.
itches too. So
Uh-oh.
am I fixing to get a check? Mm-hmm. That's what they say in Alabama. They say you're fixing. If you're in Mississippi, you're fitting. You're fitting on. You're fitting on getting a check, or you're fixing to
Okay.
get a check. So here in Alabama, it's you're fixing to get a check.
So this is also a linguistics class. Maybe it's the cat.
Could be the cat. I could be allergic to that crazy cat.
Oh no, don't say that.
Do you know? You ever go? Listen, you ever? Well, I guess you go to movies. You know, every once in a while you go to a movie. If there's anything playing that you actually would like to see, most of it is
Not
so
much anymore.
it's so trashy anymore. You don't even want to go.
Yeah.
But you go to the movies and you're sitting there and you think you're going to see a movie. The movie's supposed to start. Let's say the movie starts at 7:00. So it's 10 after 7 and the movie still hasn't started yet. You're still sitting there, and all of a sudden they start playing commercials. One commercial after another, you know, that you didn't pay to see, but
And
you're
then
seeing
you see trailers of all the other movies that are coming up.
previews.
Previews. Trailers.
Yeah, we
trailers.
always just try to decide how the previews is going to be. Like,
Yeah.
is there going to be 5? Is there going to be 7? Is there going to be 4?
And there's usually a prize attached to it.
She's always right, you know.
I've never gotten the prize, just so you know.
But you know, the funny thing is that you didn't pay to see previews, and you didn't
Right.
pay to see commercials. You didn't pay to see any of that. You came to see The Chosen. Last movie we saw was The Chosen. The first 3 episodes in one movie. Pretty cool, you know. So I like The Chosen, you know.
But you digress.
Well, we love Jesus anyway. So anyway, we're sitting there, and and I'm thinking to myself, I didn't pay to see this. Did you come to pay to see commercials?
No, and usually what it will be is in reference to something of the type of movie that you're getting ready to watch. Now, sometimes I don't understand that because there'll be some really weird things that come up in those commercials. I mean, like things I would never, ever go to see, ever.
So what does this have to do with the Lord? Well,
Or the world, or the Olympics.
because millions of people tuned in to see the Olympics. They wanted to see the opening ceremonies. They wanted to see the sporting events that's going to come and all this. You know,
It's
they're all
fun.
excited.
It's
Once every
always
4
fun.
years, they get excited. I want to see the Olympics.
I love it. I love to see all of that. I
Yeah.
think it's fabulous.
The pageantry.
Yeah. I
And the
love
fireworks and
Oh,
the
yeah.
music and the dancing.
And what are we
all-
going to do this time? You
And
know,
the
it's
parade
always
of athletes and all that stuff.
so
Okay.
exciting.
So, like, you know, who cares? But anyway, so the world's sitting there watching the Olympics. Millions of people watching the Olympics. And what happened? We all know what happened, right? They get slam dunked with trannies and crazy, weird stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the Olympic Games or anything else. Because the people who put these Olympics on, whoever's in charge of these ceremonies, decided to take this opportunity because they knew they were going to have a multi-million people captive audience to slam down your throat all kinds of things that you really don't want to see anyway.
Done in the name of being inclusive, of being enlightened,
Woke.
and woke, but just wanting to show people that they don't have any problems with freedom of expression in France, and so they wanted to highlight that for the whole rest of the world.
Now let's stop there for a second, okay? Because everybody's talking about this. Well, not everybody. Some people just don't care
Or know about it.
about the Olympics or trannies or anything else, you know. But, you know, the Lord has given all of us a free will. Let's talk about someone who's transsexual. Okay. God has given you a free will. And he's not going to break your free will.
That's right.
The free will is one of the most magnificent gifts that God has given us. The ability to choose to do his will or to do our will or to do somebody else's will. But whatever it is, we have the ability to choose, right? A free will. And I had a guy, we started doing this Red Couch about 3 years ago. How long was it ago? And we did a deal on free will one time. And this guy writes us this big, long email telling us that there's no free will, that everything you're doing is preordained and it's all programmed, and you're not, you know, you don't really have control over what you're doing. It's all, you've heard those stories before, you know, it's all. A lot of people believe that. Well, I don't know about a lot of people believe it, but some people believe it. I don't believe it, you know, because how can God hold you accountable for what you do if you have no control over what you're doing? In other words, he pre-programs you to do exactly what you're doing. So how can he get upset or aggravated when you do something stupid when he pre-programs you to do it? Does that make a lot of sense? That
Good
makes no sense. Okay. So here comes a guy, and he wakes up one day and he says, "I'm a woman trapped in a man's body." So, okay. So what? So God has given him a free will. Right? If he decides he wants to be a woman, he has the right to be a woman. Let him get dressed like a woman and walk up and down the street and tell everybody he's a woman. That's his free will. He can do whatever he wants. I don't agree with it. I'll never accept it. It's not right. But hey, if that's how he feels, that's how he feels, right?
Right.
You know? I mean, it's like arguing about things that, social things like abortion, you know? I mean, a woman has a free will, and if she decides she wants to get an abortion, she's going to get an abortion. Now, you can try to legislate against it. You can try to make it illegal. You can try to do whatever you want. I don't agree with it. It's not right. Life is precious. Only God can give life. Only God can take it away. But if a woman wakes up one day and says, "Oops, you know, I've got this problem." Of course, they say the right to choose, right? She had a right to choose to have sex with somebody she doesn't want to raise a baby with, or doesn't want a baby, or whatever reason. So she decides, "Oops, I want to get rid of the baby." Hey, she has a free will. She can do that. As long as that thing has come out of the box, you're not going to put it back in the box. It's not ever going to go away.
Right.
People are always going to want to do it. You know, Trump says it's up to the states. Okay, it's up to the states. But if Alabama outlaws abortion and someone lives in Alabama and they want to get an abortion, they're just going to drive to Illinois and get an abortion.
Right.
So really, as long as you say it's up to the states, what you're really saying is it's available everywhere. Because all you got to do is get in your car and go to some place where it is right, and you can have an abortion.
And the bottom line is exactly what he just said. It is a free will issue.
Right.
Right or wrong, it's a free will issue.
So
just like it was in the garden with Eve, it was a free will issue. She didn't have to take the fruit.
Lord, that woman you gave me. So
I mean,
that's,
yeah.
that's what Adam said.
That's what-
Lord,
Pass the buck.
she did it. It got me. Okay. So anyway,
But it was a free will issue.
So here we have these people, and they want to be a woman. They're really a man. They want to be a woman. That's their free will. They have the free will to do what they want to do. God gave it to them. He's not going to come down here and get them by the hair of the head and make them do anything.
Even though he has explicitly expressed his disgust of it, and that he does not agree, and he doesn't want it to happen, and yet, there's a lot of other things we could list as well that he doesn't want to have happen. Just read the Ten Commandments, and there you go.
Well, free will is a absolute given.
It is.
Okay? And people say, why do all these bad things happen in the world? Because God gave that kid that shot Trump a free will. And he exercised it in the worst possible way. And he paid his life for it. But still, he had a free will to do what he wanted to do, and he did it.
Yeah.
So here we have the Olympics. So here's all these guys dressed up in drag and running around.
Well, it's one segment of it. We're not going to just, categorize the entire opening, but there was a
Well, there were other parts where there were people in drag doing stuff. It wasn't just the depiction
true.
of the Last Supper. Now, some people are saying it wasn't the Last Supper, it was some Greek thing they were doing. Okay, great, whatever. But the bottom line isn't that. The bottom line isn't the fact that someone wants to dress up in women's clothes and act like a woman. That's his free will to do that.
And it was the free will of the person who created and produced it.
What isn't right, of course, is for these people to take the opportunity of the Olympics and let all these millions of people tune in, and they had no idea they were going to see anything kooky like that. They turned in to see the opening ceremony,
Right.
Family. It's a big family thing, Something wonderful, something fun, something uplifting, something happy, something good. We're going to have games. We're going to have winners. We're going to have losers. We're going to have gold medals. We're going to have no medals. We're going to have the whole deal. So here they said, and people are all excited about it, and they turn the TV on, and somebody has decided to slam dunk them with all the transsexual stuff. Because they felt like it was their right to take advantage of that opportunity to push their agenda. And why did they depict I believe it was the Last Supper. I don't think it was a Greek thing. But anyway, why do they do the Last Supper? Because they want to come against Christians. Why? Because Christians are the ones, for the most part, that disagree with all this homosexual and transsexual and all that stuff.
There was one person that I read a report about who is a homosexual, who said it didn't go far enough. It didn't go far enough. It should have been more.
Well, we don't know how far it went, but it's just.
I'm just saying what was said.
But here's the good news, right? The Bible says all things work together for good. What does that mean? That means all things. That means the good things and the bad stuff, the happy stuff and the poo-poo. Everything works together for good.
Right.
So here we have all these people on stage depicting the Last Supper. They're all dressed up in drag. They're forcing it down your throat. It's on worldwide television. Nobody expected to see it. Nobody wanted to see it. Nobody paid to see it. Even the people who came in person to the opening ceremony and paid a lot of money to be there didn't expect to see it. But here we are. We're all looking at it. Now what? Now everybody has an opinion. A lot of people thought it was a heinous, disgusting thing to do, that it mocked God. And other people said, oh, we're just showing self-expression, and France is liberal, and France, you can do what you want to in France. Okay. But the point of the matter is, all things work together for good. So even though a lot of us are saying, oh, it was horrible, it was disgusting, Christ was mocked, which he was, but let's look at the flip side, okay?
Yeah.
Let's look at the flip side. In my opinion, God got glorified through the whole thing. Because here's what happens. When you're at school, right? Remember being in school? Being in a cafeteria, and there's about 300 kids in the cafeteria, and you look over there in the corner, and somebody's being bullied. Some poor little kid who doesn't look like everybody else and doesn't act like everybody else, and he's a little bit of a nerd, and all these big bullies are picking on him, messing with his food and pushing him and taking his glasses off, and all that stuff that they did. What happened? In your heart of hearts, what did you say to yourself? That's not right. I want to do something about that. I want to try to fix that. I'm going to report those kids, or I'm going to go over there and I'm going to stop it. I'm not going to let this kid get bullied. I'm going to stick up for someone who's not here to stick up for himself. So here we have all the trannies on TV. It goes all over the world. Everybody sees it. And what do people do? People who basically want to serve Jesus, basically consider themselves a Christian, but maybe they're lukewarm. Maybe they're not living for God. Maybe there's things in their life that isn't perfect. Maybe they haven't been to church in a while. Maybe they don't even have a pastor. Maybe if somebody stopped them on the street, they say, yeah, I'm a Christian. I'll take your survey. Yeah, I'll check that box, Christian box. I'll check that. But in reality, me and Jesus aren't very close. We're not very tight. We don't spend much time together. We're kind of lukewarm. But I'm sitting at home and I'm watching that and I see these trannies mocking Christ. What does that do in my spirit? Man, that pumps me up. I throw my shoulders back and say, that's not right.
Yep.
They shouldn't do that. That's my Lord they're doing that to. That's Jesus. That's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Prince of Peace. And they're making fun of him right before he gave himself at the crucifixion. And it takes people all over the world and they say, I'm not lukewarm anymore. I'm not going to be on the fence anymore. I see what the world's trying to do. I see what they're saying about my Lord. And you know what? It's not right. And I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to make it. Even if I can't change the world, I'm going to get my life right with Christ because I don't like the way they're depicting him. I don't like the fact that they're making fun of him. It's just like they're spitting on him again and pulling his beard again and nailing him to that tree again. And I don't like it.
It's the God part of us that absolutely is repulsed by anything that is against our Lord. Anything.
That's
I don't
right.
care where it came from. I
That's
don't care if
right.
it was depicted in that particular setting or if it's something else that we see in this world. It grates against our spirit.
There's not one of us that calls Jesus Lord that hasn't at one time in our life, as we're reading our Bible, haven't sat down with ourselves and said, why did all the disciples desert him?
Yeah.
Why was John the only one at the crucifixion? How come Peter denied him? How come Andrew took off? How come they split? How come they weren't there to support him? He was being abused. He was being tortured. He was being crucified. And there was nobody there to speak up for it. You know? I've said that to myself many times. How could they just take off? How could they just split? They just walked with him for 3 years. They saw him raise people from the dead. They saw him heal the sick. And he's in there being tortured and tormented. And what are they doing? They're hiding behind a tree someplace. Same thing with that. You got all these trannies on there making fun of our Lord, and people all over the world are going, wait a minute, that's not right. That's Jesus they're talking about. That's the King of Kings. They can't do that. They can't mock him like that. Who do they think they are?
I'm going to tell you why. I know why. Because if it had been any other faction of religious belief, it would have never happened. Why? Because there is no Buddha. There is no Muhammad. There is no Hare Krishna. There is no transcendental meditation. There is none of those things that have the power of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ died and was raised again from the dead so that we could know him living today. And the reason why they come against Christ is because he has the power. None of these other people do. They're not going to come against the other religions. They would be killed. That reminds
me of this. Listen to this. I may have told this story before, but it's worth telling again. Because I'm on an airplane one time going to Newark Airport from St. Louis. Perfect flight, right? Everything's great. Beautiful flight. Not a ripple, not a bump, not nothing. Everything's going smooth, right? So we're getting close to the airport and we circle out over the ocean. I don't know. I guess we did. But anyway, so as we did that, the plane somehow did this. It made a real bad bank. Like, gosh, like we thought we were going to
crash.
I mean, everybody's freaking out.
Happen.
Freaking out. And so, here's the thing. I didn't hear one person yell for Buddha. I didn't hear one person yell for Muhammad. I didn't hear one people yell for a Hare Krishna. But I heard a whole lot of people going, oh, Jesus. Let me tell you something. When you're in trouble and things are looking bleak, you're going to call on someone who's alive.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. So he wasn't an expletive at that point.
Right, no. So
he was the one they were hoping were going to rescue them.
So here's the thing. In closing, let's say this, right? They put him on there. Their intention is to mock Christianity. Their intention is to be as brazen as they can be. Put it in your face. Here, take this, right? But actually, God got glorified.
Yeah.
Because people all over the world who want to be closer to Jesus sat up in their seat and said, That ain't right.
Yeah.
That's not right. That's not. Think about it. We love you.
We do.
Onward,
Christian
Christian soldiers.
soldiers.
Turn it off,
Fight
Gracie.
on.
Turn it off, Gracie.